Whoa, whoa! WrestleMania! It's just around the corner. It's Conor Braggett here with Kai Sherlock and Joshua Bailey for another episode of the US3 podcast, and we have a very special guest.
We do.
It makes sense now. The fact that you said it was really funny, and I mean the fact that you found it funny makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So we have on screen, as you may notice, it's slightly different setup today. We have a guest of ours. This is Myles Kayman. So Myles is a friend of mine from back home.
Just acquaintances.
Yeah, he's an acquaintance. Yeah, I know Myles from back home. And Myles, we've got Myles on to talk about because Myles streams on Twitch and he does YouTube, and he's also been in the UK wrestling scene for a couple of years now, haven't you?
About five, bro.
5 years? Really? 5 years?
Vet.
Is it 5 years?
I think so.
Is
Yeah,
it?
like
Jeez.
2016.
Jeez, yeah, so, yeah, anyway, Myles has been...
I can confirm that is 5 years.
That's
5 years.
That is 5 years. So yes, we've got Myles on to talk about the wrestling scene as well, because this weekend, if you didn't already know, it's WrestleMania. So yeah, we've got Myles to discuss a few things, wrestling, just to have a chat about him. We've got Conor on. Conor's interested in wrestling as well. Conor watches wrestling, he streams. Check out his YouTube
You can see
channel.
me this week.
Yeah, if you.
Yeah, you can. I'm just saying, you can see
yeah,
him.
of course, yeah, it's the first time we've done a picture, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, so basically, should we just start with having...
Yeah, I mean, Myles, go on. So, give us a quick run through of your life, or is it give us a quick run through of your life? Everything that sort of happened. Yeah. Give us some important moments, whatever or whatnot. Just give us a quick whistle stop tour.
Wrestling, breaking my body for 5 years, great idea. And then I played COD a lot, so I started streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah.
Wow, that is a really interesting life. I feel like the breaking your body bit sounds like it sticks out like a sore thumb.
It was a great way to sum up 20 years of your life in about 20.
Basically.
Yeah. Tell me what you've achieved in 20 years when I broke my body and I played COD.
What? I can't hear.
You can't hear us?
No.
Well, what can you hear?
I can hear you a little. But when everyone's speaking, I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what.
No noise. Okay, we'll have to just be careful, not over top of another. That's fine. We'll try not to speak one over top of another. That's fine. We just have a few technical issues. It's the first time we're doing this, so. But yeah,
so. I heard like half of the question.
So go on. That's good. What you said.
What was my question again?
You said about
Oh yeah, I just said. I mean, I probably should speak a bit more about the whole breaking your body bit. Really, I thought that's a great place to start off.
I can't hear it.
I don't know what you're saying.
What can we do? We can start off again. We've only done like 2 minutes. We can start off again. So, few technical difficulties.
Perfect. Yeah. So we're back after a few technical difficulties. And basically, Josh, you had a question for Myles. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'm going.
Go on. You go. You do it.
Yes, so we had a few technical difficulties, that's what we're about now, and Josh had a question to ask Myles. So Myles...
Yeah, Myles, I just wanted to say, quickly whistle-stop tour of your life, really, kind of like start to finish. What? Any highlights, any standout moments? All your achievements?
So many. I started wrestling when I was 15.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then, 5 years until the world ended.
Yeah.
And then... I played COD day in, day out for a good solid year, so I thought I'd start streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Why did you start wrestling, Myles? Because obviously I know the story with me knowing you from home, but why?
Especially, obviously Kai knows, me and Kai were we loved wrestling.
Yeah.
So...
Huge nerds.
Yeah. We're huge marks. And there was a boxing ring in our gym back in the day.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this story.
And me and Kai, being skinny 15-year-olds, trying to look like Batista, would am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Right, we're pissing about in the ring, just like pretending to like wrestle each other, and we obviously got told off and like booted out.
Yeah,
Well, you put it out the boxing ring, seriously.
Yeah, we were like doing like kicks in the corner and everything like that. And Kai was obviously I was beating the crap out of Kai. It wasn't the other way around.
No, do you know the best bit was, Miles, was when we were with Max, my cousin, well, my half cousin. We were in the gym. Yeah. We were in the, basically how it's set out is it's a long, thin like boxing ring with like boxing like bags in it, and then the gym's like, along the right hand side.
2x20, like it was like 2x20.
It's not very big. It's not like a proper boxing ring.
It was a lot of length, no girth.
Yeah.
Sorry, life guy.
Yeah, no, literally. And we were having a massive like wrestling match in there, and
I wouldn't say it was like WrestleMania massive.
But yeah, I was going to say 80,000 people all surrounding the ring.
It's not exactly like Rock Hogan. Like, come on, like it was me and you at 15. Doing like kicks 2 feet away from each other.
The bit where we crossed the line was where one of you wrapped my head in the rope.
I don't think that was me. I'm not taking the heat. I'm not taking the heat for that.
So yeah, and then the woman came over the PT and was like, "Look, you're gonna have to stop doing what you're doing. I'm gonna throw you out." Yeah. See, I've completely forgot about that story actually.
But then we just all looked at her and then started like pretend to fight her instead.
Yeah.
So why did you start wrestling then? So obviously you've done that thing with Kai. What was the inspiration behind it?
When that happened, me and Kai were like, "Oh, this would be quite cool to actually try." You know, like I used to have a trampoline back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And Kai remembers it.
Yeah.
I used to have like a big teddy bear, and we just used to wrestle on there. And it was always in my mind that like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to try this. So I looked up wrestling schools, and this is the bit where I get pissed off at Kai. I was like, oh, there's one in Leeds. So I tried to persuade my parents and they wouldn't let me. And Kai was like, yeah, I'll come when we can. And then about 6 months later, my parents finally let me go. So I went up there and I was like, Kai, come with me. Kai was like, nah, I'll go in a few months.
Oh my god.
How many wrestling trainings has Kai had in 5 years?
Go on, Kai.
No.
A solid 0.
Yeah.
So that was like the reason. It was just the intrigue more than anything, and it was something I felt like I had to try.
Yeah.
Because I just loved it as a kid.
So what was that?
I had like a go on.
No, so what was that first day like then? So you rock up to like the wrestling school. Was it daunting? Was it exciting? What was it like?
It was weird. I remember I sent an email to the person before we went and just said, "Hi, I'm coming down." I was gonna put, I've had experience wrestling in my garden, but I didn't, thank God.
On the trampoline with Kai.
Yeah. I'm a backyarder. So I said, I've got like no experience, come down. I said, yeah. So they're all welcome him. And then I got down there. There was a weightlifting competition that exact same day.
Oh god.
With big juice steroid guys and a small 15-year-old essentially fake fighting next to them. There was no wrestling ring because the area where the wrestling was taken up by 50 people watching these roid guys lift weights. So it was weird because I'm there fake fighting in front of massive guys and about 50 people.
Yeah.
We're just rolling around next to them doing RKOs and...
Was it something though that you always then, once you did it first time, wanted to continue, or did you want to quit at some point?
That was the funny thing. My parents said, because I couldn't drive at the time, I was like 16, and they were like, because it's 45 minutes away, this is going to be a one-time thing. We're not going to take you every week. So in the back of my mind, I thought, well, I've got to make the most of it, because this is like a one-time thing. I might not be able to do it again. So I never expected to come back, but they saw how much I enjoyed it, and like it was such a welcoming environment that I was like, I kind of got to come back. I want to do this again. So they kind of saw that and thought, yeah, let's take him back. And they just turned into a weekly thing. Like every Thursday or Sunday, we'd go up to Leeds.
Yeah,
I'd do wrestling training. It became a weekly thing, and then 5 years later.
When did it start to become serious then? Like when was it sort of like not just necessarily a hobby, but something you wanted to do for a long time? I
think once I started like getting in with certain people, like there was obviously like different skill levels and different people of different stages. So like it was the more advanced people that started like realizing that I enjoyed it, and I had something. I was still like a skinny little kid. So there was no reason to take it seriously.
It's coming from Kai.
That's it, man. That's me gone. So there was no reason to take me seriously, but they did. They were giving me advice and stuff. So I thought, you know what? If these guys are seeing something, maybe I should like start thinking this could be something I could do. And then eventually when I started getting put on shows, I thought, oh, I'm not making an incredible amount of money, but I'm getting these opportunities. This could be more of a regular thing.
Yeah.
And it kind of just snowballed. I thought, I think I want to do this now.
What was that first show like then for you? What was it like?
I'm gonna break the fourth wall a little bit. So it was a gauntlet match.
Yeah. I was there. I was
10
there. I was there.
Not wrestling. You told him you was gonna go.
I wish I'd beat the piss out of him. It was like a 10-man gauntlet with all of us apart from one guy were like, this is our first ever show. Oh my god, this is a great opportunity. We got given 2 minutes each. It was against this guy who was like a bit bigger, not in incredible shape, but he was like.
It was massive.
Yeah, but you see the size of me,
Yeah, but it was huge. Miles, it was huge.
He wasn't huge.
I mean, looking on that, did you think Miles was going to die?
Yes.
Did you think he was going to die?
I'm taller than him now, but...
Are you taller than him now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's a stocky guy, but he's not big in height.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a chode.
Usually we get to a show. This is kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit, but it's 2021, who cares? We discuss what we're gonna do. Like,
you're telling me wrestling isn't real?
Hang on. We'll have this slander on this podcast.
Whoa! Can't believe that. Wow!
It's still real to me, damn it. So usually you have like you discuss stuff 2 hours before, an hour before. This was 3 days in advance.
Ooh.
I had a 2-minute match planned 3 days in advance. Even though I planned it 3 days in advance, I was shitting myself. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to forget this. I'm going to forget that. This is going to go wrong. I'm going to die. But because it was only 2 minutes, looking back at it now, I can do that. Like, boom. But back then I was like, oh my god. My parents are here. Kai's here. Even though I don't like him, he's there. And I was terrified. It went well. I hit someone with a belt in the head in my first ever match. That was fun. But,
That's cool.
Yeah.
It was a terrifying experience, to be honest, because you just go. The worst scenarios just go through your head.
Yeah. You mentioned your parents, Miles, and obviously shout out Miles' parents because they're great people. They are lovely people.
Yeah, it'd be a bit rude if you turn around.
Yeah, said no. They used to. I've known them since I was because I lived down. Me and Miles lived on the same street, so I've known since.
I moved house, but further down the street.
I moved away from Miles. I lived up like close to Miles, and then I moved further down the street to get away from him.
I never understood why people move down the street. That doesn't make much sense.
I think it was because the house we were living in was bigger, smaller than the one we are now. Because it's like that was a 3-bedroom. It's now 4-bedroom.
Just move somewhere else.
It was because my sister was being born as well, so we had to get a better big house. Anyway, you mentioned your parents, Miles, and obviously they've been incredibly supportive to take you to.
Hang on. Your sister's how young is your sister than you?
5 years.
He wasn't wrestling at 5.
No, but I still lived down a street at 5.
Yeah, he's always lived down my street.
Yeah, I've always lived down a street.
Okay, so I think you moved at like 15.
Yeah. So basically, so you mentioned your parents, Miles, and obviously, they've been very supportive, taking you to all the shows and not to the shows, but before you could drive, taking you to training and stuff.
Yeah.
What was that like? 'Cause obviously, it's not a lot of people have the support from parents like that and something they want to do. Obviously, it's massive to have that support, and obviously, I know they've helped you with the YouTube stuff and everything like that as well.
Yeah.
What's that like to obviously to know that you've got the support of your parents to do what you want to do?
It helps a lot because if you want to do something and then they say, how about do this instead? It's a bit deflating. So I never had that. Obviously, wanting to be a wrestler is going to be a shock to parents because it's like say you want to be an actor. Like it's such a hard thing to do and such a unique path to go down. You're not guaranteed to make it. If you go to uni, there's a good chance you're going to get a degree, and then there's a good chance you might get the job you want. Whereas wrestling, it was never. Even if you knew what wrestling's about, it was never you're going to make it here.
Yeah.
It's a guaranteed path. So obviously they could have said it's such a risky thing. We don't like it. You're not doing it, but they never did that. They always put me first, and no matter what I want to do, they're like. How was
that first conversation received, Miles? Obviously, when you first do put forward that you say, what was that first conversation like? Because obviously, I was, and I forgot actually, but break away from it, but quickly, I was looking through my old camera roll the other day, and I found the screenshot of the website of the training school that we were going to go to.
Oh shit!
I found it was quite nice.
We're going to
Yeah,
go
we're
to.
going to.
One that
Well,
he
Miles
went
went
to
to.
and-
Yeah, the one
yeah,
Miles went to.
yeah.
one that I
You
didn't-
bottled
yes,
it.
yes,
You
one that I didn't go
bottled
to. But yeah, so obviously, what was that first conversation like? Because obviously it was supposed to be a one-time thing to start with, wasn't it? And then how was that conversation moving forward to being a permanent thing or a weekly thing?
I don't think there was like a conversation of it really. It was more like they always made the comparison. They'd rather me do that than be on the street and getting into things I shouldn't be getting into. They said they'd rather me be with a good group of lads and just having a good time than me doing stuff I shouldn't be doing. And so they always thought it was better for me to do that than anything else.
Yeah.
Not that I was going to do the opposite,
Yeah.
but it was kind of like a confirmation for them that I was kind of on the right path in a way. So they were more than happy. It's just like going to like a social club with your friends or going to like football training.
Cool.
They saw it as that was my time to like be myself. And
What was your parents'
So there's
reaction
never a
then with the
conversation.
first show? Then was your mum was your mum really nervous?
Yeah, she was.
I imagine
I
your
was
mum
sat next to her. She was.
Yeah. She was terrified.
Yeah, she was.
Obviously, because it is a dangerous thing. People think because it's rehearsed and because you're working together, it's not dangerous. It is probably the most dangerous thing I've ever done. Like, just to sidetrack a bit, like I've been involved with people breaking their arms, and that I've actually been involved with someone breaking their arm. It wasn't my fault, but that has happened. So it's just very easy for stuff to happen like that. So she was terrified, like because I'm small, like my bones may have not been developed properly. I probably wrestled too young. Obviously she was like very scared that I could like hurt myself badly or something could go wrong. And it's very easy for it to go wrong. But
Is she still like that now then, or is are the nerves gone away?
She hints it here and there. Like I'll have issues like with my body, and she'll be like, "Oh, that's from wrestling. Like maybe you should start thinking about something else." But then I'm like, it's just a general thing that happens. Injuries happen no matter what sport you play. Or
What did you
no matter
take
what
from
do.
your first show then to that first time? Like, what lessons did you learn? What experiences did you have?
I wouldn't say it was more just getting the experience. I don't think there was necessarily a direct lesson like this is what you should do. It was more here's what it's like in front of a crowd. Here's what it's like going through a full match with a bit of pressure on your shoulders. So it was more. I don't think there was like a definite lesson. It was more the experience, just building. Because at the start of that match, I was nervous, but 3 years later, because of doing it over and over and over again, you're not nervous.
Yeah.
So that was a huge thing, just getting used to being in front of a crowd. Because I only wrestled in front of my friends, people at that training school. So wrestling in front of a crowd was okay. This is kind of like you can't mess up here.
What are your feelings when you're wrestling in front of the crowd? Like first time, and even now, like you still get nervous or?
First time was terrifying because I was a good guy, and anyone who knows me in wrestling knows I'm not a good guy. I'm not a good babyface.
No.
I gravitate towards being a heel way more.
Heel's a bad guy.
So like, because I was a good guy, I don't know what to do. Even now, like, I don't know what to do as a good guy. It just doesn't come naturally to me. So back then, like with all the experience I've got now, back then I had no idea what to do.
Why do you gravitate towards being a heel, as you said, or a bad guy? Like, why do you think that is?
It's because he's a prick.
Yeah, is that a fact? That you are like a prick in real life, or
No, but like,
it's not.
I think every good character is kind of like a times 10 of yourself.
Yes.
So I'm not saying I'm a bellend.
Every times by 10 you would be.
Yeah, but there's a tendency of me to be a little bit competitive and not arrogant, but sure of myself.
You play off the characteristics, don't you, that you have in real life when you find a new character.
Like it's just a weird thing that you just connect with. Like,
well, I was gonna say, like, what characteristics do you need to like be a bad guy? Like, what things are you're doing, you're using? Like, what are you doing?
Just know how to work a crowd. It's working the crowd, isn't it?
Yeah, so like, bear in mind, this is all like, I said this to Kai the other day, like, I need to kind of like state this. It's all opinion based, and like, obviously I've only wrestled for 5 years, so me compared to someone wrestled for 10 years, I don't really know anything. I'm aware of that. But as my opinion, as a bad guy, you need to get the good guy to look good. That's like the whole thing. So I felt naturally I was much better at making somebody else look better than they are, rather than making myself look good. Because I love selling and stuff like that. So I always felt it was easier to perform in the ring to make someone look better than me. In a way.
Yeah.
It was a weird way. Like I much prefer making someone else look better than myself.
Okay. Yeah, it was very selfless of you, mate. Very selfless. I mean, what would you be good guys or bad guys in the ring if you were a wrestler? If Kai, in a reality where you'd actually turn down.
If I'm coming up against Myles, it's not hard to be a good guy. I mean, like, let's be honest. But
Exactly. Well, there's actually like a reason behind why Kai would be a good guy. The bad guy tends to, like in the olden days, the bad guy tends to lead the match, so they would control what would happen. Yeah. So like if you get like Hulk Hogan as a bad guy against someone who's good, like Sting, for example. Hogan will be listening out in the crowd to think, right, when do we need to move on to the next bit? What are they doing? What do I need to make them do? So it's always the bad guy that tends to lead the match, or it's the most experienced that tends to lead the match. So I think Kai would be a good guy, even though he's like I don't know how people like him.
Good guy, bad guy.
I would gravitate more towards a good guy, Manta.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what it is.
You got that vibe about you. Yeah, I couldn't. Look, I wouldn't look at you and think you're a prick. I wouldn't.
Thanks, good.
So nice is obviously, like, you can kind of tell by looking at certain people.
Yeah.
Kai's a weird one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not saying that's bad, but
I mean,
if anything, that's good because Kai could be good and bad.
Yeah. I feel like you walk on that line.
Yeah.
Very much like a classic, like Randy Orton, Triple H, someone that can play a bit of both sides. You know,
Like when I was at Butlins, I was a good guy because Butlins is obviously a very family show, and I'm against other guys who are much older.
Them shows Butlins.
So the kids could resonate more with me because I'm younger. Oh, he's just like me.
Yeah.
He's a young lad.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be a bad guy at Butlins. It wouldn't work.
No.
But in every other show, I would mainly be a bad guy. And it
So
suited way
touching
better.
upon what you said then, the fact that the bad guy kind of like controls like the show a bit more.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? So what would your role be as a bad guy when it comes to like how the show goes?
So it's not really how the show goes. Like everything that happens outside my match doesn't really concern me as such. And again, this is all opinion based, but if I was a bad guy, I'd be listening out in the match of when the crowd are dying. So when I need to pick the crowd back up, that'd be like a hope spot. So giving the good guy a little bit of a fighting chance, and then just cutting his legs out. So the crowd are like up and down. The way people describe it, like my coaches have described it, it's like a roller coaster. You want the crowd to be going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, always changing emotion. So that's kind of like my job in there to, one, make the good guy look really good so the crowd like him.
Yeah.
2, to make the crowd dislike me. And then 3, to judge like, okay, the crowd are getting bored. Let's pick things up a little bit so they don't get bored, so they get more excited. The crowd have been the highest they've been so far. Let's take it home because we're not going to get them any higher, so there's no point. So that's kind of my job. Obviously, if I'm
More
the
experienced.
experienced one in there. If I'm not the experienced one in there, I listen to whoever I'm working with. That's kind of just the respect thing. Like if I was in there with one of my coaches, he would tell me what to do, and I'd be like, okay, cool. Whereas if I was with another trainee, I'd be like, okay, we're gonna do this. So it's kind of much more. If you're more experienced, you kind of take charge.
yeah.
How difficult is that then to do that? And like, was that a skill that took you a while to master? Like, how did that go?
Oh, I haven't mastered it by any stretch.
Nah.
The issue, obviously, like these days, the quality of actual wrestling is such at an athletic stage that a lot of it, whether it's good or bad, I'm not going to say, but it's a lot of pre-planned stuff. And that can be great, but it can also affect the match slightly. If you're really good, you're really good no matter what. Like, if it's pre-planned, it's going to be great either way. But to really judge a crowd, you kind of have to go out there and feel it out there. Like, on the fly. You can't. So if I go into a match and think, the crowd are going to cheer at this point, I don't know that.
Okay.
Like, if you hit me with that move, the crowd are going to go crazy. I don't know that, though, until it actually happens.
So
if I... Oh, go on.
No, go on. Sorry, go on.
So if I hear the crowd build, oh, they need something cool to finish it off. But if they don't build, if we plan a spot and they don't build for it, and then they hear it's like, well, we predicted to do that, but they didn't. So if we do that again, they're not going to react again.
It's just a risky
where do
game,
we
isn't
go?
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously work on the fly. I can't do a match at my level. And I can't go into a main event and call on the fly because I'm not at that level. I'm very aware of what stage I'm at, and I'm very confident with my opinions, but I also know I still don't know anything.
And what stage are you at the moment then, would you say?
It's hard to define.
You're
what
always
stage.
learning, aren't you? It's one of those things where you're constantly learning.
There's a common saying that you'd never stop learning, but you can have your own opinions, and everybody has their own opinions, but whether they're right or wrong, my opinions are probably maybe wrong, maybe right. Who knows? Wrestling's so subjective, so it's so difficult to get. That's the answer that you want.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer. But I'm still aware that I don't really know anything because I've only been wrestling 5 years. So like,
Which is quite a long time. That's like for someone for me, but clearly in a wrestling community, that's nothing at all.
Yeah, like literally, like some of the like usually it takes about 10, minimum of 10 years before you even recognise 9 times out of 10. Like, and it's a weird industry to be in because it's a
slow burner.
Yeah, it's a really slow burn.
It's like you've got to work hard to even get your foot in the door, and then once you've got your foot in the door, you've got to work even harder to get to the top.
What is the industry like then?
Well.
This was what I was going to ask. Like, I was going to ask, for like, so going in then, so like the industry, so like on like a local level, so your club, the community, you said that was really good. Like you said that was a real good like community feel in the wrestling in general.
Yeah.
And then like, what about the industry as a concept?
So basically, when you started wrestling, the UK scene was just about to boom, wasn't it? It boomed while you were in it.
It was mid-boom.
Yeah, and you were booming.
I came in probably mid-boom. So like, what I mean by that was at the time. It was like 2016, 17. There was 15 shows on a weekend across the country. Everybody was having 2 to 3 shows a week, getting good money. Everyone was selling out. Basically, there was just a shit ton of shows, and it was like a great time for British wrestling. Post-COVID, or leading up to COVID, the boom kind of died off. I don't know when it did, but it kind of died off.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's a lot different at the moment. But back then, it was. So many shows.
Do you think that like part of the fact that it's died down is to do with the induction of like NXT UK and how big maybe that started to take a lot of like the big names from the UK scene?
I see a lot of hate towards NXT UK, and I think NXT UK is a great thing for wrestling because it's giving the boys a guaranteed amount of money, which was probably more than what they were making on the indies.
Yeah.
They're making people into stars, and it gives opportunity for other people to rise through the ranks on the indie scene. So like, if they sign someone who's a big name on the indie scene, that spot's open for someone to take. So if they're main eventing every single indie show in the country, and then they get signed and they can't main event those indie shows, well, someone has to main event those shows. So it gives that opportunity for somebody else to take step, and then that just elevates everybody else.
That's a really positive way of looking at it, really.
Like, become a star. It just benefits the whole scene. Obviously, they took a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And people said that hurt, but you got to think business-wise, they needed a roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
They had money to spend.
Wow,
like,
They're
not just going to sign 5 guys and think, okay, our job's done. We've got a roster. They need 30, 40 guys, otherwise people are going to lose all the time. They need a good roster.
Do you think it's a shame then that NXT UK isn't as big as it possibly could be? Because obviously it started off a bit rocky, hasn't it?
It's difficult. If you see the takeover Blackpool from last year, that was huge.
Yeah, it was.
You had Balor coming back. You had a full crowd. The English crowd are typically on fire, a lot of the time. COVID doesn't help. COVID hasn't helped any situation really.
No.
Obviously, on a wrestling standpoint, it's hard to know what's going right because you can't listen to the crowd to tell you if they like it or not. I don't think there's a case of it struggled, or it's on decline, or it hasn't hit off. Stuff like that. You think NXT? How long did NXT take to really get going?
Yeah, it's a minimum of about 4 or 5 years.
The little trial show with like the game shows type stuff.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
And then NXT is like a third brand now.
Where do you see it going then? Where do you see
NXT
like,
UK?
Yeah.
I don't really have an idea, but I know it's good for the talent.
Yeah.
I know like it gives people opportunity to get in front of the right people and to get opportunities and to train. There's a performance center in London where they all train. Like being on the indies, you don't get the opportunity to train with WWE coaches.
Just to explain that, sorry, Myles, just for people who don't know, the indies is like the independent scene. Okay. So that's people away from WWE or the big companies. That's like what Myles wrestles
you're
in.
an independent artist, so you're not signed to a contract.
So you fight freelance, for example, in our terms.
So really, would that give someone, by joining that, would that give someone the opportunity to go into the WWE? Then?
So what it was is people wrestled on the independent scenes, and then WWE started up NXT UK. So NXT UK is WWE.
Okay.
And they started it up in the UK, and then basically when they started it up, they went over to the independent scenes and thought, oh, he's a good talent, we'll sign him for WWE. He's a good talent, we'll sign him for
Which
WWE.
is obviously what you would. I see so much stick about why did they sign him or he sold out. But like,
why wouldn't you?
if I'm a wrestler and I'm like, WWE are interested in me, I'm going to take that into consideration. Like, why you should be stupid not to at least think about it.
Yeah.
So they'll see someone like Myles NXT UK, and then they'll sign
and
up.
then
And
NXT,
stuff like that.
so NXT UK is WWE.
So why then was it maybe affected like the wrestling boom in the UK?
Because basically what happened was NXT UK started a brand new, so WWE created a brand new brand, which was called NXT UK. They then looked at the indie scene where Myles is and took all of the big stars. So
Yeah,
like
big names.
the big names.
Yeah, and then they can't wrestle on the independent scene anymore.
Like,
They're
they
only
can work
wrestling
for,
for
like,
WWE.
They can do
Oh, okay.
Progress.
So the
They can
boom
do
came in the
big
independent
shows
wrestling.
because
I'm with you.
WWE have an affiliation with Progress, so they're allowed to work like Progress, for example, which is like the biggest UK company besides NXT UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like they become exclusive, so they can't do the same shows that they were previously doing.
So because of that boom, it forced WWE to make a show of NXT UK.
Okay, so then
So there's just so much talent.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
there
a
was,
smart
yeah.
business
Yeah.
decision. Like if you see a country with so much talent, why wouldn't it capitalize on it? It's only smart, I think.
Okay, so then Myles, on both sides of the coin then, what was it like in being in part of the independent industry when you had that wrestling boom, and then kind of what was it like when maybe it went a bit flat?
Well, I wasn't aware of the boom at the time because I was so new. I didn't know what shows were. I didn't even know. I never went to a show to begin with until really after my first match, was like after a year I started training.
Yeah, because we went to Manchester, didn't we?
Yeah. I had no idea that there was a wrestling boom until I became more knowledgeable of the wrestling scene in general. So like I had no idea what was going on.
Okay.
Until I started really getting onto shows and then I started speaking to people and actually understood what the wrestling scene was in the UK.
What was that? What was that like then for someone like new coming to the shows and actually seeing how big it was growing? What was that feeling?
It was a great feeling. I got the butterflies, the excitement when I'd go to a show because I used to go to a lot of shows to help out. I used to go and help set up the wrestling ring, set up all the lighting and stuff like that. So I was always at the shows helping out where I could, which inevitably got me onto shows.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just exciting. It was exciting that this could be possible. Whenever I get all booking, I was like, "This is great. This is like so cool." I got that little buzz, that tingly feeling.
Go on, Kai.
I was just going to say, because credit's due, a lot of, because obviously you don't know Myles personally, we used to go out a lot, and Myles used to say no a lot because he would be just going to a show.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, I became quite distant.
You did, yeah. Well, we
lost.
we lost touch with Myles as a group because Myles used to go.
I wouldn't say lost touch.
No, but
I think he didn't like you.
No. It wasn't.
I was pissed.
It wasn't that. What it was because Myles sacrificed a hell of a lot to get to the position he even is now, and he's not even
still a low position.
And he's
still a very low position.
Definitely, and he a lot of the times we'd say, "Oh, Myles, do you want to come do this?" And he'd go, "Sorry, no, I'm going to help at a show." And we all wouldn't understand. But now looking back, I understand it. But as a kid, as a 15, you did.
Straight up, I got a lot of heat from the boys.
Yeah, as a 16-year-old kid, I was like, why are you choosing to go to a show just to help out when you could be coming having fun with us? And then now looking back on it, Myles has sacrificed that to put himself in a decent position, and I get that now, and you don't understand that.
What was that like then, Myles? Like as a 16-year-old kid, remember people having fun, and you're outside the glass looking in almost, and you're seeing people having fun, but you're sacrificing.
Honestly, I didn't give a fuck.
No, I didn't.
I was having the time. I don't regret any of it because I had the time. It's always nice having a friendship group at home, like Kai has now with you guys. You have that different friendship group where you can be not necessarily a different person, but you can change things. You can learn about other people and other ways of life and stuff, and just a different experience in general.
We've had that conversation because they don't know your past. When you, for example, when you come to uni, no one knows what you've done before uni. Yeah. Same with Myles. When he started wrestling, nobody knew what he did before wrestling. So it's like almost like a clean slate and a fresh start, and I do get that.
It was very much a honeymoon phase as well, where like these new people are great. They understand, because I got a lot of stick for wrestling because a lot of people saw it for. I got this quote a lot. It's just men oiled up, fake fighting in like tights. And as funny as it is, because I'd laugh about it now.
Yeah.
That was hard to hear day in, day out, because it was something else. So the issue was everybody watched wrestling growing up, or a lot of people did. And then as soon as I started, it was hard to accept that I was actually doing it. So I was constantly around people when I was wrestling who were like me, who was in the same position as me, at the same grind as I am. It's just like being different in a certain aspect and finding a community that's the same as you. It's welcoming. It's a nice.
What has it given you then? What has the wrestling community given you as a person?
It's given me the opportunity to understand people and understand people's own beliefs, because I met a lot of people with different beliefs, like different religions, just different ways of life.
It's culture, isn't it? It's culture.
Yeah, it's the different cultures. Like some of my friends were religious, and I'd ask them questions about one, why do you feel this way? Because I was genuinely intrigued, and tell me a little bit more about stuff you do on a day-to-day basis because of that religion, or why do you go to the gym as much as you do? How do you do that? Why do you like video games? Why do you like Pokemon cards, for example? Why do you all... So I got so many experiences from so many different people. It just allowed me to become less judgmental of a person, because everybody has their own little quirks. I have my own little quirks. Everybody does. So being able to be around people that don't hide them, because in the wrestling scene, nobody kind of hid the little quirks. If you collected Pokemon cards, you told people about it. If you played video games 10 hours a day, you told people about it, because everybody is in the same position. They're getting judged for wrestling. So why judge each other for their own individual quirks when we've got the same quirk?
So it's just a community, like everyone just accepting each other.
Yeah. Obviously, there's some outliers.
Yeah, like everything.
But a general community feeling was everybody was accepting. And
yeah.
It was a warm community. It was a warm community to be in.
Yeah. So then, what's like one of your best or funniest experience then of like in the wrestling scene, like or the wrestling community? If you could give us one.
Yeah, they won't get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. So
this will be one that you asked me later to cut out.
No, this isn't bad. This is like a rib in the ring.
Okay.
So a rib is like a practical joke. Now, you play these jokes to pop yourself, to make yourself laugh, to make the boys laugh. It's a relationship builder. It's a team building thing. And I heard of this one rib where if you're in a Royal Rumble, you can't pin anybody. You have to throw them over the rope. And there's a move you can call which leads into a pin. And then, so I called to one of my friends. I sent him off the ropes and I said, sunset flip. So that means like I go down, he jumps over, like does a front flip over me and tries to pin me. He does that, and then I'm in the middle of the ring, I just shout, you can't pin me in a Rumble, and I just left him lying in the ring. Shit. And I was crying. I was absolutely crying, because it's just so like stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect them, it doesn't hurt anybody, it doesn't make anybody feel upset. It's just, if you're lying there, you're like, you motherfucker. And you just hear the crowd like, what's he doing? So it's just one of those funny things. I have many more stories of being on the road. That I don't know. One, I can't remember off the top of my head, and two, I should probably not say. Yeah. There's a lot of funny moments in wrestling.
I mean, I can imagine, because you're always on the road, aren't you? Like it seems like a massive community. But then, so you say you've met a lot of people. If you could give a couple of like some of the best people you've met, who would you say they are? I'd like their story or something like that.
I'll give you two off the top of my head, because I don't want to be like, oh, this guy, oh no, this guy.
Yeah.
Naming like 25 people.
Yeah.
One, Kip Sabian, 100%. He's at AEW at the moment. I got told about 3 years ago by one of my friends, Joe Nelson. He's like huge in the UK scene at the moment.
Yeah, he is.
Young guy, but he's called Kid Lycos 2 now. He told me, because he was in with Kip at the time, he said, get in with Kip. He's a good guy. He'll take you under his wing, and you'll be good. I was like, oh, okay, I'll see what I can do. So I did exactly that, and that was like huge for me, because this relationship with Kip doesn't just stay in wrestling. It's gone through my streaming as well.
Yeah.
So I didn't know Kip as personal as I do now, but back then he was my wrestling coach. He took me under his wing. He took me to shows, got me in front of the right people. He didn't hand me an opportunity because if I messed up, it's on him.
Yeah.
It's his fault. Like, why did you bring that guy on the show? He's crap. He allowed me to get in front of people when he thought I was ready. There was this one time for a company called IPW. It was Kip Sabian versus Will Ospreay in the main event.
Wow.
And I got a call. I came back from sixth form at school about 3:30, from Kip saying, my car's broke down in Leeds. Bear in mind, this is in Milton Keynes. 2.5, 3 hour drive.
Oh, I remember
I got a
this.
call from Kip saying, my car's broke down in Leeds. I can't get to the show. Can you drive me? I just dropped everything, drove him to the show so him and Will Ospreay could wrestle in a match. And Kip was like, you need to give this guy a shot, to the promoter. Give him a chance. He's done me a solid. He's ready. Which led into me getting on the show, it was like a TV taping for, I don't know how many people watched. It wasn't huge, but at the time I was like, oh my God.
Still a really cool moment,
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Huge. So Kip has done so much for me in wrestling that he didn't have to do. He got me in front of the right people, and that then transcended into Twitch. Just obviously we might get onto that later, but it's just brief. When Kip moved to the States because he got signed by AEW, we kind of became distant because I kind of thought he's moving to a new country, let him be. He's in a new company, he's probably scared shit. Let him be. So we weren't distant, but we didn't really speak. And then we both realized, Warzone came out. We both play Warzone. Let's play together. And then that one session turned into every single day for over a year now. So we played like every single day for a year. We built another relationship off gaming, which has helped me because Kip told me to stream. He was like, "You're good at the game. Stop just playing it for fun. Try and make something out of it." So that's why I started streaming. Kip's helped me so much throughout the streaming as well. Basically, he's helped me when he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Every aspect. Like I can open up to Kip about issues I have in my life. He'll give me the answer straight. He'll tell me his past experiences. So he's become more like. We joked in wrestling that he was my wrestling dad, but he's become like more like a brother figure for me, like an older brother.
Yeah.
And it's always important to have someone like that.
Yeah, it just makes you feel safe.
Yeah.
Wrestling.
Was it a big
Now-
deal then when Kip moved to AEW? Like, was it a big deal for you? And like, obviously, it was a big deal for him,
cool.
but everyone around him as well.
Yeah, it was a big shock because I kind of had a feeling beforehand, but once it got announced, I don't think anybody expected it. He was thinking it was like the first UK guy to get signed. Because AEW was like, oh my God, this new company, who's going to sign?
Yeah.
And then Kipman was like, yeah, that's cool. That's my coach. That's my like wrestling dad. Someone who I'm close with getting this opportunity that a lot of people aren't being able to get.
Just for Miles, just for context, AEW is this new company that's just started up. Well, not just started up. It's been going
Like
like
3 years now.
a couple of years.
Sting, Chris Jericho.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of big
Kenny
names
Omega.
over there now.
Okay.
Yeah,
They've got a lot of big names, and they're almost they're not rivaling, but they're rivaling WWE. If you know what I mean, they're going for the
Not
same.
in terms of
Second
numbers,
biggest-
but in
Yeah.
terms of just like the wrestling
Second
feel.
biggest company in the
Yeah, there you go. Second biggest company in the
Second
US.
biggest.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, Miles, you were saying.
It's good. So yeah, that was like my relationship with Kip. It transcended wrestling through Twitch, and then that's just real life. Like he's one of my best friends
Yeah.
that we speak on a day-to-day basis that I wouldn't have got if I didn't go to his training school. You know.
Yeah.
And then another guy, I'd say Adam Maxted. Love him. He's gonna kill me for this, but obviously he was on like Love Island and stuff. I had a weird interaction with Adam the first time I ever met him. I was a bit of a prick to him. I've told you this before. Legit, because obviously you get this preconception of people. Oh, he's a reality TV star that wants to wrestle. Just the fact that he's a reality TV star gave everyone the impression he might be a bit of a knobhead. He might be a bit up himself. So I kind of met him with that mindset. He asked me how his match was. I was like, it was alright. And I walked off. I was like, I don't want to deal with him. Like, he's going to be like, oh my God, this is good. But then on the Butlins run, that's when I started to get to know him more. And he could not be further from the preconception everybody gave him. He is the funniest and like the most sweetest guy I know. Again, he's like a big brother figure for me. Because we've been on, whenever we were on Butlins, it was me, Adam, and I made Dave Graves on the car for hours and hours and hours and hours. So like, me and Adam really got a good connection from that, and he's become again like a big. I basically have two big brothers that I've never had really, Kip
Which
and
is
Adam.
really important in life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah, because that transcends wrestling as well. Like we still talk every other day. I'm off to go see him soon when we're allowed to, and like that transcends just being in wrestling. I have many other people like that, but I've got two people right now that I'd consider more than friends.
Yeah.
And like I wouldn't have got that without being. If I wasn't allowed to come back after the first training session, I would never be in the position I am.
No, of course.
Yeah.
'Cause I think that's more important than being successful on Twitch or being successful in wrestling. Actually having good people.
It's a life experience, isn't it? It's a life experience.
Yeah, huge. Because I learn off Adam. I learn from his mistakes. He tells me, hey, don't do that. Do this. Kip's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that, but here's why you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because they're much older than me. Kip's like 29 or something. Adam's like 28, 29. So they have obviously experienced way more than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can judge without judgment, ask them questions about life.
So what have you learned from them then so far? Maybe like Kip as a wrestler more, but like from both like in
From
life
wrestling.
or yeah.
They're both very similar yet different. So from Kip is more of a character guy. He's a great wrestler, but knowing Kip, he's more of a character guy. So I'm that as well. I love characters in wrestling. I'm a huge Ric Flair fan. Obviously, Ric Flair's one of the best wrestlers of all time, but his character made him what he is.
Yeah, definitely.
So Kip, I really focus on Kip with like how to work to like the camera. Where's the hard cam? How to get my character across? Why is my character there? So I always went to Kip for that stuff. Obviously, I learned wrestling from him, but really the thing that stuck with me, you can learn how to do a lockup easy, for example, but to actually learn how to work to a camera, that takes skill to remember while you're in there. That camera needs to see what you're doing. This camera needs to see what you're doing. So I learned a lot of that through Kip. Adam, I learned a lot about. I just like watching Adam's work. He's like so good at what he does. He's a big guy. He does a very basic style, but he does it so well. His selling's so good. So I just watch what he does. I'm like, I'm gonna steal that. Not I'm gonna steal his move. I'm gonna steal the way he sells that or his facial expressions. So you learn pieces. You don't learn one thing from Kip. So I don't say Kip taught me everything.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Yeah.
I pick pieces that I want to pick from Kip, and then my other coach Nathan Cruz, I pick pieces from him, and then I put them together.
Yeah.
So I'm not a Kip 2.0. I'm not an Adam 2.0. I'm not a Nathan Cruz 2.0. I'm me with a piece of knowledge.
Yeah.
But it's like what we
that's
want to
kind
do,
of
isn't
what
it?
I
Like,
learned.
you know, we watch like people who do it and we pick things from that and like
Yeah,
people like that.
You can't just take all the knowledge from one person.
No.
Yeah, you want to inform because you want to make the best of everyone, don't you? 'Cause they're all professionals for a reason. So, what is the independent wrestling scene in the UK like at the moment? Then, like being a part of it, like, where is it standing?
It's a weird one. I'm not going to go into detail about some stuff, but it's a weird one because obviously the pandemic hits people differently. Like
Yeah.
wrestling shows were expensive to run before the pandemic. You have to pay for the ring, production, paramedics, the actual wrestlers, insurance, venues, expenses. You have to pay for all that. So it was tough to make money as a promoter. Promoter is one of like the worst things you can do because there's so many expenses and it's so hard to get that money back. But now the pandemic obviously transcends anything we do. That has taken a hit on I don't know what, but people have definitely been hit by the pandemic, so it's going to be even harder for people to run shows. They may have lost a job. They may have not lost the job, but they want to save the money just in case, or they may have invested, or so the money might not be there to run a show. So I think there's going to be less shows at the moment. Obviously, you can't run a show now, but once everything's back,
Yeah.
there's going to be less shows, less opportunities. But again, the good wrestlers, it's that saying that the cream will rise to the top. The good wrestlers will be able to overcome that. The ones who really want it can overcome that. But it just means every opportunity is 10 times more important now.
I was going to say, have your goals changed then with like the way the pandemic have gone with wrestling, or has it still stayed the same? Like where are you lying with it?
50-50. I had a bad period last year where I was like, I didn't watch wrestling. It kind of made me sick to look at it. I fell out of love with wrestling a lot. I went to a training session when everything opened up. I was like, I left after like an hour. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing it.
Why is that? Why was that?
Oversaturation, do you think?
Because you can't do something. Like legally, you couldn't because of the lockdown. You couldn't go to wrestling training. It's hard to really have a vision for it if you can't do it.
Yeah.
So if I, for example, if I lost all my streaming equipment, I can't stream. So what else can I do? I can't really do anything about it. It's the same. Wrestling was taken away from a lot of people, so it's hard to really think. It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So you're like, I'm just gonna ignore that now. I'm gonna see what else I can do. I'm slowly getting there where I'm enjoying it again. I don't watch wrestling as religiously as I used to. And I make jokes about that. I don't really like the wrestling, but I still get. I don't think I'll ever lose it when I watch a Ric Flair match. I still get that little buzz of excitement when he does like a little.
You Mark, you dirty Mark.
You know what I mean? I'm a huge Ric Flair Mark. I still get so excited when that happens. So I know deep down that I've still got that.
Do you think like your passion and excitement for it will come back eventually? Do you think it's just kind of like taking time?
It's slow. Like I'm going to training in the coming weeks, so I'm going to see what that's like. I'm excited. I've got that excitement to come back. So we'll see how it goes. I'm confident that I'll keep doing what I'm doing, keep streaming, because the dream at the moment for me is to wrestle and stream. Make a good income off wrestling, make a good income off streaming. That's kind of like the goal that I have at the moment, to do those two.
Where would you see yourself lying with wrestling? Like in the wrestling pyramid, like where would if you're in 10 years' time, where would you want to be at?
I want to be financially stable.
Okay.
Because of wrestling, there's not necessarily a company I'll say I have to get there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the dream is WWE or AEW or anywhere that'll give me an opportunity. But to be able to live comfortably off a passion of mine is kind of like the dream. That's like what I want to be in 10 years.
Yeah, but also you still want to have that kind of long shot of WWE and what's it called?
AEW.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, 100%. Because they're the two companies to be in the US at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's TNA, there's Ring of Honor. But in terms of like the big boys, they're kind of like
the
big.
How long does it traditionally take to get?
Depends how good you are.
There's something I've always been
How
taught,
lucky you
and
are.
it's allowed me to understand why people get. It's a very good thing to have, and it goes to like any goal that you have. It doesn't really. It's not specific to wrestling. It can be streaming, or it can be your own passion. People get to the destination quicker. So, for example, if you're a good-looking, just as a generic assumption, if you're a good-looking guy, 6 foot tall, he's good on the mic, is okay at wrestling, but you've only been wrestling for 6 months. WWE may be like, oh, I like that guy. I'm going to pick him up.
Yeah.
We'll train him. People's paths are different. So someone could be working 10, 15 years and get their opportunity, whereas someone might be trained. I've never even wrestled before. Like, do we pick up a lot of NFL guys? Stuff like that. People may have never even wrestled before. Might get an opportunity.
Yeah, a lot of them.
There's not really a timeline.
No, but like, so
not
like, you
really
could wrestle for
timeline.
6 months and just be picked up.
Yep.
It's just about luck.
A lot of the top guys. No, I say a lot of top guys.
It's very much who you know.
Yeah.
Like Braun Strowman, for example, he used to be a I can't remember, like a strongman.
Yeah, he was a strongman. He was a weightlifter. He was a powerlifter.
Yeah. I don't know how much experience he had before he got signed, but he was signed pretty quickly in his wrestling career for specific reasons.
Yeah.
So he had something that other people may not have. So like, I like that guy. Let's get him.
Well, a lot of
How do they spot you? So if you're like a normal,
lucky.
you just
got to be lucky.
Yeah, you just got to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, it's also who you know. So if you have a contact, you've got that initial step to.
See, that's why I didn't go to wrestling school all them years ago, Myles, because I knew if you got there, I've got a contact there, so I can just start anywhere.
Yeah,
you do all the work. If you do all the work, it would just
that's
jump
the
on.
issue. I would actually have to want you to get there.
Clever. So we're gonna go on to shithouse of the week now. So this week's
Shithouse
of
the week.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Right. So this week's shithouse of the week, Josh has actually prepared this week's shithouse of the week. So Josh, do you want to go ahead with this week's shithouse of the week?
You're probably like, I don't know how many regular watchers we have of this, but definitely John's friend.
Yeah.
He knows
Ryan Chowdhury.
Ryan Chowdhury, he knows I'm never very prepared of this. And basically, I've come up with the shithouse and I'm scrolling through because I was preparing for my radio show, and basically what it is this guy. So this man and husband, this woman and husband, no, not woman husband, woman and man, they're saving up for a house, boyfriend and girlfriend, and so basically he always used to order fast food at work, and instead of that, she decided they were going to make packed lunches for him, you know, to save a bit of money. So this guy comes around. His colleague comes around the house and says to his wife, you know, "Oh, I love your sandwiches. They're really nice, but they're a bit expensive though." And the wife's like, "What?" This colleague then basically tells the wife that the boyfriend had been selling his packed lunch the wife had made him to his co-workers so he could then buy fast food.
That's brilliant.
Which I find just hilarious. The fact that apparently she was really angry, and you read it like,
Get over it.
I don't know when they put it. She put it on like Reddit, and everyone was saying, "Oh, it's not good on him. He's not like." Everyone was absolutely slandering him, and I just found it hilarious. The fact that the fact that he was getting the packed lunches, and his wife thought for months that he had the packed lunch and he was eating it, but the fact he'd just been selling it to buy fast food. Incredible. What a man! Also, you know, honourable mention as well for Shithouse of the Week. Mm-hmm. There was this woman that basically was having a wedding, right? Mm. And she had told her guests that it was cancelled.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Turns out it wasn't cancelled. What happened was she realised she didn't have the money to pay for certain aspects of the wedding. So when she asked these people for money and they said no, she uninvited them. And she didn't tell them, so she just told them the wedding was off. And then what happened was, a year later, she then put, "Oh, I can't believe you've been married a year, happy anniversary." And they saw the wedding pictures.
No.
So yeah, I mean, what a friend, what a woman, really.
I've got a question for you, Myles. If you were to choose one sandwich you could have and one fast food restaurant you could have, what are you having?
Chicken and bacon and stuffing.
Okay.
Chinese.
Oh, good choice.
That's an outside.
Well.
Yeah, that's an outside.
We don't mess about.
He knew that.
Chicken chow mein, salt and pepper squid.
Chicken chow mein, chicken fried rice, curry sauce, chips.
Salt and pepper squid, yeah, man. Daddy.
I can't eat squid. I could eat squid like if I was in Spain. I was on like the coast.
No.
Right.
Because it's fresh squid. I couldn't eat Chinese squid. That's definitely not squid, mate. It's definitely not. It's definitely. So I don't know what it could be, but it's definitely not squid.
Accusations coming out from Josh.
I'm just saying.
Should we go to the board?
We can.
Yeah, so the board, basically, for all you maybe new listeners, basically you can nominate absolutely anything. The graphic will be on screen now for what it's been like in the past few weeks. We won't see us, but yeah, so that's what it looks like. And basically what it is you can nominate absolutely anything. We all nominate one thing each week. It'll be something that's happened to us in the week, something that's trending, something that we like, or something that we just purely hate. So that's what. No, I'm joking, Myles. I'm not going to nominate you this week.
That was a good one.
So yeah, basically, let's go first, lads. Should we let Connie go first this week? Connie went last week.
Do we have to?
Yeah, Connie, you're going first this week.
Okay, I'm going first this week. So, as this was like a very wrestling themed like episode, I wanted to put something on the board that was very wrestling themed. And over the last 2 nights, or like multiple nights, there's been NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Now, the stars of that show were Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole's unsanctioned match. So I'm putting on the board Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole's unsanctioned match.
The unsanctioned match. Okay.
Because that match was unbelievable.
Have you seen it, Myles?
Oh.
You've not seen it yet? Honestly, catch the highlights if you can catch the highlights of it, because you got the network, haven't you? Watch it on the network. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's worth the watch. It's very, very good match.
I've got a feeling he's not going to watch it.
It's an early match of the year candidate, genuinely.
Yeah, it's a very good match.
Very early match of the year candidate. So, yeah, I want to nominate that. That's going on the board.
Fair enough.
So I'm nominated then. Are we going to me?
Yeah, you may.
Oh, no. Oh.
You have not prepared?
He's not prepared.
I've not prepared, so, we're going to nominate something, just random.
What have we got in
And I'm going to nominate Cocoa Pops.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to nominate Cocoa Pops.
Yeah, okay, not sat behind the camera.
Not Cocoa Pops Rocks, because Cocoa Pops Rocks are fraudulent and no one should ever put that in their system. But just normal Cocoa Pops.
Cocoa Pops warm is class. In the microwave.
Just fuck off. Come on, mate. So, come on,
Stick
seriously.
it in the microwave for about 45
You
seconds.
can tell you eat peppered squid. Come on.
That's the best.
Mate, I don't even like Cocoa Pops.
I do. I'm
Not even, don't even like them at all.
Genuinely, I've got a genuine question. Like, warm Cocoa Pops, surely then the Cocoa Pops go soggy. No one likes soggy
Yeah.
Cocoa Pops.
Yeah, that's the good thing about it. It's like warm chocolate milk and then soggy Cocoa Pops.
Oh no, I don't like soggy Cocoa Pops.
Nah, soggy Cocoa Pops are not the one. But either way, I'm going to nominate Cocoa Pops because on a real, I don't know if it's healthy for you, but how many days are in the year?
365.
I must eat Cocoa Pops about 300 days of the year.
Sad.
That's alright.
That's
I had chicken goujons 300 days of the year.
That's
It's pretty,
good.
isn't it?
No, you're turning down
I'm not
something.
going to
No,
respect.
no, I've actually got turkey unicorns in the freezer.
Unicorns?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I bought them in
like,
May.
You
Living
eat warm up
life.
Cocoa Pops. You've got no room to talk.
So I'm the.
Oh, this reminds me. What do you think? What did John have? the other week?
Cornflakes and mayo.
Mayo, yeah.
Cornflakes and mayo.
What's your opinions on cornflakes and mayonnaise?
That's horrendous.
Yeah, that's what Johnny had. That's
I've
what Johnny
never
had.
thought of that as a combination.
Yeah. Well, Johnny wasn't even forced to eat it. He just chose to eat it as well.
Weird man.
Weird man.
So glad he's not here.
He's back next week.
He's back tomorrow.
You'll be on the one after because I'm not here for the one after.
Okay.
And then
So
you'll be the one
I'm
after that,
I'm
because then it's
disappearing
run
for a
off.
week and then I'm back.
And then wait, what do you mean?
I'm not here
Oh,
the
actually,
week
what, the Friday? Yeah, and then a couple of weeks, and then I'm not here. So yeah. No,
so-
literally the week after that, I'm not here, or is it the week after? I don't know. Either way, doesn't
Anyway,
matter.
so yeah, my board pick for this week is again wrestling themed. I thought Connor was going to steal it,
Royal
but
Rumble.
why are you so obsessed? It's not the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble's in January. It's WrestleMania. I'm
I was
nominating
gonna do that, and then I knew
Mania.
you
I'm
was.
nominating Mania. Purely because I just want to talk about Mania. It's this weekend, and Myles, are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
It's definitely not looking
No, I
forward
am
to it.
watching it. Yeah, of course. It's Mania. Obviously, I'm gonna
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah, Mania. It's like Mania even draws in the casuals, doesn't it? It's one of those
Make yourself a home, Mars. There, make yourself a home.
yeah, but it's incredible. It's 2 nights this year, like it was last year. Finally getting a crowd back in, which is fucking good. Because
Can someone run me through it? Like, what are the matches? Like, what's the big
oh
one?
god, there's
Like,
14
there's
matches.
14
There's 14 matches.
it's not a lot.
Okay, so I'll run
When
you
you have
down.
about 10 minutes each.
We'll do the two main events. So
Yeah.
main event of night one is Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's title. And then the main event of night two is Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns versus Edge for the Universal
Surely,
Championship.
have you ever watched it in your life ever?
No.
Have you not watched it when you were younger? Did you not watch it when you were a kid?
No, I never
Oh,
watched
okay.
it,
I
no.
thought you were watching it when you were a
Because everyone like it's not real, and then so I didn't watch
I
it.
thought because at least you'd know Edge if you were watching it. when
I
you were
don't know
younger.
the
But-
Edge.
Night two is
Yeah,
the night.
night, yeah.
It's
Predictions?
We've
we've
they're
done
out on
those.
Connor's channel if you want to go check them out.
Miles, predictions?
Who do you think's winning Triple Threat?
Edge.
Yeah.
Edge. Is that a sneak preview into
It's pretty obvious. It's 10 when he on the night of the match is 10 years to
What?
the day he retired.
I was about to say, what's the one where that guy broke his back?
Yeah, that's Edge.
yeah,
That's
that's
Edge.
It's his neck.
It's his neck. So what he did is Edge broke his neck, was forced to retire after numerous surgeries because of it. He could end up being paralysed.
Yeah.
Just shortened him down, condensed it down, and basically he had to retire. And then last year he came back when no one ever thought he would ever be able to wrestle again because he would have ended up in a wheelchair. And then this year, if he wins on Sunday, if he wins, probably will. If he wins, it's 10 years to the day till he retired. So it's just quite.
Will he retire again?
No, he'll carry on going for a bit longer.
He'll carry on going.
He's only got a few years left in him because he's old,
Yeah.
but he's got a few years left in
What
him.
happens if he doesn't win?
Well, there's a shout he might.
There's a shout he might not.
Yeah.
Okay.
You genuinely don't know, but it's
Is
one
that
of
the
those.
number one match then? Is that the big
That's the
one?
big one.
That's
yeah.
the
It's
big
biggest
one for
yeah.
this weekend. Yeah.
What time's that?
That's
Like
like 5 a.m. on
last
Sunday,
one.
probably.
Is that the
Yeah,
last
something
one?
like that.
Yeah, it'll be the last one on Sunday.
Oh,
Yeah.
get in. Come
Miles,
on.
what is your board pick for this board?
Twitch.
You going with Twitch? Why
Nice.
do you
Yeah.
want to talk about Twitch, Miles? What is?
Because I stream on Twitch.
Is it just a shameless plug?
Yeah.
Miles, please tell us a bit more about your streaming on Twitch.
I stream Warzone and various games.
Link will be in the description. I'll put the link in the description. So if you want to check Miles' Twitch out, he streams most days, don't you?
Is most days you streaming?
There's not really a specific day. Most days, like every other day,
Yeah.
give or take.
Any
Meet
specific
it.
time, or just really when you feel like it?
About 4 p.m. UK-ish. It depends. Meekip and other guys tend to squad up and cry on the game together because the
Yeah.
game's just
Yeah.
terrible.
But yeah, that'll be in the description for you, Miles. But yeah, again, thank you for coming on. Thank you.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you for joining us for the last hour of your time.
I felt like I rambled at some points.
No,
It's nice.
It's good. You know, well, I know I learned a lot, and I know
you know,
so.
I enjoyed it as well. So you know,
Definitely.
Lovely.
Perfect. So if you
Very
haven't
good.
already, links will be down in the description for all of our socials. Josh's, Connor's, Miles' mine. They'll all be down there if you want to go check them out. Yeah, and thank you for joining us.
well, thank you for joining us. Johnny is back next week, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Chick is back. Miles is excited.
Connor, unfortunately, thank you.
Sadly, Connor won't be here.
I'm so excited that I'm leaving. He's like, yes, he's gone. Finally.
Yeah, so
Connor unfortunately won't be here.
Connor will be back
Minute
the week
silence for
after.
Connor not being here this week.
You just
But Johnny is back, ladies and gentlemen, so
Yes.
don't you worry.
Yes.
Yes, your favourite Johnny is back.
Favourite Johnny.
Your favourite Johnny, the only Johnny.
After the controversial comments he made the week before.
I'm just saying, they're yet to come out. I haven't put them on TikTok. We'll see if those will blow up. We'll see.
Oh, God.
No,
Yes.
but Connor, we want to thank you for your
thank
time the
you.
last couple of weeks.
No problem.
It's been lovely having you on, but you'll be back the week after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back when
Without
you guys
Connor,
can't make
which
it.
that'll be interesting.
How are we going to film that?
I'll take centre stage. Get in.
I was gonna say, like, what's the week? Yeah, the week after. Yeah, we'll have to discuss about that.
Sort it out.
We're gonna have to we will get a guest on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll find it out. We'll work out logistics off camera.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you
Thank you
for
very
watching
much, Miles.
so much. Links in the description
guys.
as per usual. Thank you so much and goodbye.